Welcome to Smash Writing. I am Paul. This is Justin. We are back with another original versus remake. On today's films is The Wicker Man, 1973 and 2006. Let's start off with the original, of course.
I almost want to start with the remake just so I can get the not the bees line out of the way. I'll hold my excitement. I'll hold it. Alright. Starting off. We have a man arriving to Summer's Isle, a police officer in search of a missing child. They don't really want to let him on the island. It's a private island, but he's like, oh, I am the man of the law. You will send me a dinghy now. So they send him a dinghy. They pick him up. And they automatically all say they don't recognize the girl in the picture. So he's off and looking for a place to stay. The letter came anonymous. He has no idea who sent it to him. Just that there was a missing girl on the island. They bring up the mother's name is May, I think it is. Mm-hmm. And the point is she lives out in that, according to everyone there, though, that can't possibly be May's daughter. Because they know May, and they know that's not her daughter. The missing girl's name is Rowan, too.
Yep. In both films.
Yes. Yes, it is. He picks up he heads off to this little pub area, and he gets a room, and everyone breaks out in a song. I hope you like that. There's going to be a lot of those here.
Yes. This is why I was like, it feels, I don't know if I said it seems or feels, but it definitely felt like two different movies.
This was definitely musical.
Yes, it was. I thought it was just, you're just fucking with me, and I thought it was like, this can't be real. I'm like, this better be like a comedy. No.
If the locals have a chance to start singing, they start singing. After he brings down the mood, though. His name, by the way, is Sergeant Howie.
It's a winner.
He starts asking everyone about the kid again, and nobody knows who the kid is. And he realizes that the Harvest Festival from the year earlier is missing. They claim it has been damaged, and they're waiting for it to be repaired. And then he notices the food is weird, and he heads out and spots an orgy going on in the field. Which horrifies him to his core.
Because he's a Christian man.
He is a very Christian man, as we find out during his prayer, and he has a flashback to when he led a sermon. And he's interrupted by his the landlord's daughter. That was the song of those. The song is all about the landlord's daughter. Her name is Willow. She tries to seduce him through the wall while he's sleeping to a seduction song. And he is fighting temptation hard. This scene goes on for a long time.
Yes, it does. I mean, look, she was good to look at, but I'm like, but then that stupid dancing, I'm like, why is she tapping the walls? And then he's like over there, like, getting seduced by the wall. Yeah, I'm like, what?
It's like either go over or go to bed, man. Calm yourself down on you ticks here.
I get it, he's a virgin and all that or whatever, but I'm like, he's getting like excited through tapping on the walls. I'm like, what am I watching? Bastard.
But the next day, she wakes him up and they talk a little bit. And she wants to know why he didn't come over the night before.
Because there's a fucking wall. I mean...
He claims he is engaged, and he does not believe in that before marriage. So she tells him that he should probably leave before the May Day festival begins, because he really won't like what happens there. We get another song here. And then he walks up, he's spying on his classroom going on, this lesson going on in class, where the children are learning about the maypole. And yes, it does symbolize a penis. Thank you for asking.
Yeah. Alright, just make sure we're on the same page with that one.
Just wanted to make sure we're all there. He threatens to report her for her teachings and what's going on in the class. And really freaks out when the kids lie to him and Rowan really was a student there. They're torturing a beetle in her desk and everything. But that's when the teacher takes him outside and explains that it's not that they're lying, it's the fact that they're wording it wrong. they claim that she does not exist because she has passed away and they don't use the dead word. And her spirit lives on in everything around them, so she's not really dead. Then he gets even more upset when she says that the churchyard is no longer the churchyard, but she is buried at that place he calls a church. And all through this, he keeps screaming about Jesus.
I knew that had to just entertain you.
Jesus! Jesus wept on all of you.
I know that's just so entertaining for you to watch.
You can just, when he heads over to the churchyard, he spots a woman breastfeeding, and you can just tell he's pissed off she's breastfeeding a baby in public. How dare you?
However, like, isn't that kind of like a natural thing?
Yeah.
Like, that's... Okay.
Think of the children. Not the one you're feeding, the other ones.
Well, they all been there too. Alright, go on.
Then he heads over to the doctor next. The doctor / photographer / something.
I mean, you gotta have multiple careers.
Yes.
It's on an island, so...
Meanwhile, she is crazy. She has a young girl sucking on a frog to help her sore throat.
Yeah.
My
God.
The doctor won't cooperate with him because he needs a warrant or the permission from Lord Summerisle, which he doesn't bother with. He just forces her to hand it over. There's no death certificate on file for Willow, and the doctor knows that, but not how she died. But she does claim that Willow has died. Oh, finally he goes to visit Lord Summerisle, and this is where it gets real good.
The orgies and the singing and the Jesus is not good enough.
He does point out the naked children. None of them look like a child. Are learning about something to do with their religious beliefs. I don't know what the hell they're doing. But he asks Lord Summerisle permission to exhume Willow. And the Lord gives him permission to exhume the body. It's very important that you remember that part for what happens next. So they start having an argument over religion. They believe on the island of the true old gods. And it was built on the death they believe that once upon a time that they all celebrated the old gods, and then Christianity came in and built their beliefs on the back of...
This was the Celtic gods.
What's up?
Celtic gods?
Celtic,
okay.
And
just because I'm into Greek mythology, you can't just say old gods.
Yeah,
you gotta say
Celtic gods.
There you go.
And Christianity built their religion off of them, so they're taking it back to the old ways. Which pisses him off to no end, because he keeps screaming about Jesus again.
Y'all need Jesus!
But at the end of this argument, he goes, "Are you going to give me permission to exhume the body or not?" And as Summerisle points out, I already did.
And he is supposed to find find a missing girl. Let's just let that sink in.
Yes. So he goes off and exhumes the body, in which case he finds a dead hare, which infuriates him, so he takes the hare back to Lord Summerisle and throws the rabbit at the one woman.
So wait, the animal here that irks him. Now, he's playing up this good person, but then he throws it at somebody. This is your rabbit! Ah! Well, I mean...
I got paranoid.
But, like, you're welling a rabbit at somebody.
Yeah. But he had a great line. He's like, "You cannot make a fool of me." I think they can. I truly believe they can make a fool out of you probably forever.
And they're not even trying. You know, like, when they got the permission and they were told him, like, we already did.
I love that one line, too. He's like, "Where's the body?" And Summerisle was like, "You're the detective here, aren't you?"
You're right.
Like, this guy plays into Summerisle's hand at every possible moment.
Big time.
Every moment.
Big time. So bad.
And Eventually, Summer Isle shows him to the door and tells him that he should probably leave before the festival starts. Go back to the mainland. But the detective was like, of course I'm going to go back to the mainland. I'm going to get the police, and we're going to bring down a huge investigation on all of you heathens in the name of Jesus.
Jesus.
So he breaks into the photographer, and he finds a bunch of pictures, and one of which is Rowan. The missing picture has Rowan in it, and with the words "worst harvest ever" on record. Now he's starting to believe that, and then also he learns about the May Day festivals, and he comes to the conclusion that Rowan is alive, and they're going to sacrifice her to the Lord's gods for the harvest. So why does the next thing he do is leave the island? He heads out to his seaplane to fly off. If you think they're going to sacrifice her soon, why did you leave? It doesn't actually matter though. The plane has been deactivated and they're not going anywhere. But
and also, I just realized, as I was watching, he's a detective, but yet he stays in a police uniform.
I don't know what.
Most
I don't know what outfits were mandatory back then.
It's
the UK or Scotland.
Yeah,
I believe. I don't know when Scotland left the UK or if Scotland has left the UK.
But they still are the UK.
I don't know. I don't know. I fell asleep on European history.
I'm pretty sure Ireland, Scotland.
Oh, Ireland is not, unless Northern Ireland is and Southern Ireland is its own thing. No, I know that if you get it wrong, they get pissed off. I think Ireland is its own thing, and then you have North Ireland that's something else. Unless they've unified recently.
Northern Ireland. There's Northern Ireland, which is part of the UK. No, just keep going.
Good lord.
I'll get the information.
Anyway, when he can't leave, he decides he's going to start house by house searching for Rowan. And when that fails, he returns back to the pub and goes to have a half-hour nap. But he's woken up by Rowan and the shopkeep who have lit this candle on fire that'll keep him asleep for however long he needs to be asleep for. But he was faking. And he...
Yeah, nothing like stating the obvious.
He knocks out the barkeep and steals his jester outfit so he can mingle among the parade. And when they get to their final destination, there's Rowan at the cave, top of the cave entrance. He runs up, gets her out of the ropes, and runs into the cave with her, being chased by the townsfolk.
Real quick. England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland consists of the UK.
But
on the spot research, baby.
When he gets to the exit of the cave, everyone is waiting for him. It was a trick all along to get a virgin hero here to sacrifice.
Wasn't there they also label him as king of the land or something?
Yeah.
With him being a cop.
He has royal authority of the king.
Yeah.
Or the lord,
something like
power. That. And he's a virgin.
And he's a fool.
Yep, and a fool. So off to the Wicker Man he goes to be burned alive.
This scene.
And the movie ends with the Wicker Man tumbling down. So the moral of this story is, kids, is that you should always go with the blonde who's seducing you from behind the wall.
Yeah. Well, okay, about being burned in the Wicker Man. The first thing I thought was, I get it, he's a dedicated Christian and all of that, but he's, so calm and doing his prayer. I'm like, what?
Well, I thought that was a great scene, though, of him panicking in the Wicker Man and everything.
Well, yeah, then he does his prayer. I'm like, oh my god. I'm like...
Well, he, too, tries to sing his own song, but they're chanting over him, so...
This was...
This was a trip. This was a trip.
This is an LSD trip. What are you talking about? You got singing. You got the costumes. I get their whole... Which was twisted, too, because, when they put the mask and animal heads on them and stuff like that, and they go through the swords.
Yeah.
And the one gets the heads chopped off, and I'm
Yeah,
like...
well, it was all a joke, it's fine.
Yeah, like, this one... I think this was labeled as, like, a thriller/mystery. It didn't feel like that because I get it, the mystery of the girl and the thrill ride to get to the girl, but everything else about this film just made you scratch your head. The costume, the animal mask, and all that was just so goofy. I mean, hell,
I'm not here for all of it.
Was that?
I was here for all of it. I don't think it was goofy.
Well, I just meant like it didn't get me to the point it was like a mystery thriller. I mean,
I think that this movie could have had I think the ending drops the ball in one thing. What I would have had them done is him just run full tilt into the Wicker Man, blindly believing he's trying to save this girl, who's not actually alive. And it was just him being a crazy religious fanatic who viewed these people as beneath him. And all this time there was nothing more going on, nothing sinister at all going on.
Yeah. I don't know, like the singing...
Oh yeah, I hate musicals, don't get me wrong. The musicals takes us down a level.
Yeah. The
Wicker Man looked great though.
Yeah, I mean that was good.
I thought the actors crushed it. Edward Woodward, Chris Lee, and Britt Eklund did wonderful.
Yeah.
Just to name a few.
The dancing through the wall.
Especially like Howie's fear of seeing the Wicker Man and knowing what's about to happen to him.
Right.
Negatives, I hate musicals.
I think pretty much...
too many swing songs. Too many sing-alongs.
Then you have, I guess like another negative for me is, besides it being a musical and it's supposed to be a messed up situation here, how dumb the Detective Howie actually is.
Well, yeah, because that's another reason why I think he should have just blindly ran into the Wicker Man.
Like
because he does a little bit of investigating work, but mostly it's him breaking and entering.
Yeah.
Forcing himself onto everyone, forcing his will onto everybody. And I get that there's a missing child throughout all of this. Again, for a large part, like, it makes him right in the end, but at the same time, everyone is telling him that there is no Rowan.
Right. Grade.
I'm gonna give it a B.
B? Wow.
Give it a B.
I am surprised by that. I'm actually going to give it a C. The musical just wasn't feeling it for me. I know the ceremonies and stuff is like supposed to be fun for them or whatever, but the costumes of the people that were dressing themselves up and all that, kind of like the genre that this film's placed it in, what they were doing, just felt two different things.
I don't really follow the genre tags.
Well, I just don't like when I feel like you're watching a mystery thriller, like, or suspense. I can't be like, what the hell are they doing? And then you got seducing people through the walls. Stop. You got a dumb detective. You know, I think here's my overall assessment for this one, and just in my eyes, and so I'm giving it a C. I think it was just so campy and so bad that it was good. Like, in that type of...
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to give it an A because it was so bad. So
it's hard to say how good or bad he was as a detective, right? Because he does follow the path.
Well, yeah.
It was laid out for him, but he does follow it.
I guess, like, when you look into little details, it was just...
Because we're going to go hard in the opposite direction with our next detective in 2006.
But
and what he should have been doing.
That... But I also have to, so now we're going to jump into the 2006 one, The Wicker Man, starring Nicolas Cage. Now, before you get into reading the plot for this one, I think the difference in the styles of the detective is Malice. He wasn't an actual detective. He was
going to be one, though.
Right, but you still have to go through exams. He never did any of that.
We'll get into that.
But, hit up the plot.
Alright, the plot of this is... I'm watching the alternate ending version of this movie.
There's an
Yes, the one I watched was alternate version.
Did you watch the unrated version?
I don't think it was unrated. I just know it was the alternate ending version.
Okay.
So I don't know what's different from here, or if me and you watched the same version or not.
I watched the standard. So
Yeah. And we see Nick Cage as a bike cop.
Yep.
He's making he's making his rounds on his motorcycle when he stops this one car because a little doll was chucked out of the window. So he returns it to them and is about to let him go when the girl chucked the doll out again. And when he went to pick it up, the car gets T-boned by a semi.
I think you were driving that day.
Probably. Don't get in my way. I'd have T-boned him too.
No witnesses.
But, so we jump ahead and he's in a state of shock of what he saw. He's unsure of what to do with himself now. And he gets a letter from an old love named Willa. No?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, her name is Willa.
And needing help. Her daughter's missing on this Isle of Summerale. And to please come and help him.
Our episode update right there. He still has not learned over the years of putting that on vibrate.
So off he goes to Summer Isles. And the pilot doesn't even want to take him there because it's none of his business. It's a private island. But for $150, I think it is, off they go.
I'm about to break the laws and almost sacrifice myself. But for $150, you can change my mind.
So here's the problem here, first part is out, right? He doesn't want to take him because it's a private island. But he's been invited by someone from the island. He does not say that to the pilot. He doesn't even say that to the first group of people till almost the end of the conversation. When they're grilling him about why he's there. You've been invited to the island.
You're not breaking no laws at this point.
Use your words here. So off to the island he's gone. We meet a few of the people, then we meet the tavern owner, and then Willow. He gets a room and makes a speech about this is police business. You have no authority here.
No, you do not.
Even if this island is a part of Washington State, you're not a Washington cop.
Nope. And the crime, of, because Roland it's still the same kind of format. When the crime takes place in California, then you have jurisdiction to go over. But since it happened in Washington, you're being invited. You're almost basically like your own private investigator. You don't have any authority. But go.
And then you probably need a PI license, which he doesn't have.
That too, yeah.
And you don't have to kill the bee because you're allergic, you ass. Willow directs him to a private place to talk, and she believes that something has happened to her daughter. She's alive, but she's scared that someone's going to hurt her, and the town is lying. But she departs before any questions can be asked or anything like that. And you see people preparing for the Wicker Man's return. He keeps having nightmares of what happened, but they're starting to intermix with current day stuff. He wakes up and chases after a little girl he sees outside of the window, and it almost leads to his death when he falls through the floor of a barn. The next day during breakfast, he questions about why they're using store-bought honey over honey made on the island. And he questions the woman about whether or not she'd seen the girl and where's Willow. And she asks him if he could take her with him when he leaves. She kind of doesn't really answer that and walks off to go to school. And we get a very similar conversation from the first schoolhouse. Where's Rowan? Has anyone seen Rowan? No of Rowan. No. There's Desk Gazette. There's an empty crow in it. There's a crow inside the empty desk this time. Which doesn't make that much sense. I think that crow would have shredded their way out of that desk. But he gets the attendance book again, finds out Rowan was a student, starts flipping out on the students when the teacher takes him outside to explain that Willow had burned to death. And that's why they're not wrong, they're just not using the same words that he's using.
When you're dead, you're dead. When you're missing, you're missing.
He does manage to track down Rowan's grave and finds Willow there. And they talk, and she's positive they're lying. None of that happened, and Rowan is still alive. And she slips, and we discover that Mollis is Rowan's dad. Which makes it all the more personal for him to find the child. He takes off. He goes to see the desk, and under her room, under her desk are the words, "Help me," and all these horrible pit drawings. When he hears the plane being driven by. So he runs off to catch the plane because he wants to use the radio. But he can't find the pilot anywhere. After some nightmares, he ends up swimming out to the plane, and he finds that the radio has been destroyed. And off he goes to the doctor photographer, who tells him that she will get him a picture of the harvest that he's looking for, from the harvest here that's missing from the tavern. But he waits outside. He waits for her to leave and breaks in. And he finds out the missing photo was Rowan's, and it was the worst harvest on record. And he brings it to Willow. She tells him she doesn't understand any of this or what's going on. And this is the part where he should die. And this movie should be over. Because he goes off to see Summer Owl and is attacked by a swarm of bees.
That he's allergic to.
And he doesn't get his shot in time. But he wakes up in Summer Owl's house. They did save him. Not with his shot or anything on adrenaline, the old ways that they call it. I genuinely believe he should be dead in that field, though. With the amount of bee venom that goes into him. He should not be alive.
And then you times that by 2, being actually allergic to that bee venom. Because like when you get stung by a bee, like if you're allergic to it, you have a bad reaction compared to somebody who's just like, ah!
Yeah.
But this is a Nicolas Cage movie, so keep that in mind, guys.
But he wakes up and he goes off to talk to Summer's Owl. And he wants to exhume the body. She gives him permission. Remember that. They get into a bit of it over this island doesn't really operate off the true gods way. I mean, they still believe in the true gods and everything, but it's much more feminine island, feminine energies. Women are in charge of everything and run anything. She doesn't really say what's happening to the men here, who are, we find out, are subservient to the women, and they're covered in bee stings and don't talk or anything. They're just kind of there for breeding purposes. And he points out the flaw of inbreeding eventually happening, and she just shoos him off on it.
Yeah, the inbreeding. He's like, "You're inbreeding!"
And once again, he asks permission to exhume the body, and she goes, "I've already given it to you. Here's your bicycle." He digs up the body and finds there's a baby doll. And he follows some sounds into this crypt area, and he ends up trapped in this drowned basement of the old church. Until the next day when Willow can get him out. But because he went into the drowned basement because he sees a robe and sweater inside of it. And so off he's going, and he goes back to Summer Owl's, trying to find her, and he only finds a guy with a bunch of bee stings and a woman covered in bees. He should have gone to the attic as there was Summer Owl and her crew was hiding out. But he doesn't. He just flees back into the wilderness. He commandeers Rose's bike. The May Day Festival is about to start, by the way. That day is going to be time for it. Time to get help from the men. Except they're not helping him either. And he goes off to search the town alone. I'm going to asterisk this. We're going to come back to this moment in time later. And then he starts looking for a way off the island, but the pilot is, when he finds the pilot deceased and there's no boats, so he's stuck on this island. And he knocks out the tavern owner. He takes her bear costume.
He just wails her. He's just like, BAM!
And then he's attacked by the waitress when he takes her down too. And he joins the parade.
I want to make a note real quick about like when he takes down the waitress. That was such a fake kick, and like he's like, "Bow!" I'm like, that is not him.
But he joins the parade again, and he's all upset when he sees Willow there. But Willow's like, "I couldn't have missed this, my dude." But once again, he finds Rowan tied up. So he breaks to run over and gets her untied and saves her, and they run up the hill. And at the top of the hill, they find all the townsfolk, because this has all been a trap. It's been a long play from Willow. She was always set off to go find a guy to breed with, who will come back later and be sacrificed to the lords. And now that they've had the worst harvest, the sacrifice is needed now. So they break his legs. They put the bee helmet on him. You get that? Not the bees! No, not the bees!
You also get my legs.
My legs!
Like...
You bitches! And off to the Wicker Man he goes. Well, they had a nice touch here, where it was Rowan who starts the fire in this one.
Yeah.
Which is a nice touch.
And then, like, he's, like, talking to her like a father-daughter would. Mind you, she has
no idea who you are.
She has no idea who you are. Yes, it's fully now implied at this point that is your daughter, but nobody told her that that's your father. So she's just like, this random guy's calling me honey. Burn him!
And the movie ends with the fall of the Wicker Man.
Okay.
Okay, let's go back to the part I remarked here, where he's going door by door, right? This is going to differentiate the two detectives here. Two cops. I understand why Howie's going door by door by door. Marla's here, though, at this point knows Rowan is his daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you not showing much more aggression here? His gun should be out. He should be shooting people. The houses
Instantly.
should be on fire. Because that's what I'd be doing.
Yeah.
Burning every house behind me. I already checked you. I already checked you. I would have started with Summer Ale's house. That would have been the first one on fire.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as a father myself, I'm like, I will rip your head off.
Now, understandable. At this point, he doesn't have any guns in his bullets. Willow took the bullets before she let him out of the dungeon.
But she didn't. He didn't really know that until they
swarmed
fine
him.
scene when he's about to. What's he gonna? There's like 200 of them, and he has 9 bullets anyway. Like, what was his plan?
Why did you jump into the drowned basement? If she was in the drowned basement, she did.
End the movie. Get off the island.
Oh, but I expect, I get Howie's not, because Howie is a man of the law. So is Mollis to a point, though, but at this point, you're out of options here. You truly believe your daughter's about to be sacrificed, and you are being well too restrained here.
Yeah. Until the bees in the legs.
Because it's like, yeah. Like, let's say you got Rowan back, right? And it wasn't a long call on here. You got Rowan back. What is your plan? You're still stuck on the island.
And, I mean, they never tell you how big the island is, but it's an island. You
Yeah.
can only go and do so much.
Like, this is why I think, 1973 was a lot of fun. This movie was no fun. This movie just sucked all the energy out of this movie. Out of the island, there's nothing here. At least, it was fun in 1973.
Yeah, so, like, I swear, like, there was a time, this may have been a year, like, that Nicolas Cage just can't emotionally act. Like, his tone is his tone, but then he gets in his, like, when he has to show emotions, like, it just makes you laugh. Like, when the bees and the legs. My legs! I couldn't stop laughing. And him punching. Once again, like, I'm on this track where it's so bad, it's good. Like, that's because I'm like, his over emotional acting, him kicking the waitress, and even actually the final scene when he's fighting the people. I mean, like, come on. He's like doing fucking karate kicks.
I mean, like, he honestly should have been Rambo out in the woods at this point. Like,
oh, absolutely. I mean, the fact that, like, when they're marching, like, I couldn't even, like, I wouldn't even look at my ex-fiancé like after like, it was all coming together, like she probably would have got the first bullet. Like she at least would have got the barrel of the gun. Like you're twisted. I will say though, when he is in the Wicker Man, me personally, I do like his reaction.
Well, even that, like, it kind of took me out of it for a completely, entirely non-movie related thing. I broke my arm once. Actually, I broke it 3 times.
I was going to say the once.
And I remember the 3rd time I was sitting there waiting for the ambulance, and I had my arm rested on my leg like this, and my hand was at my ankle. I don't know if he'd be able to lift him up the way they did by just tying the rope around the legs they just broke.
Yeah, because the bone is broke.
Yeah, because he would just be like hanging like 15 feet, all stretched out and Gumby like.
I will say though, I do like the more personal element with like being ex-fiance and having a daughter involved, because that would motivate. Because that was his Willow says in this film it says ex-fiance. The fuck would I give a damn? Like, don't contact me. Don't send me to garbage. You're my ex for a reason. But then when you turn into a kid, you're like, oh, damn, okay, I gotta go.
Well, the thing is, too, like, again, though, that's where it bites it in the ass, because he should have been more aggressive.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword there. I get that.
He is not aggressive at all. Like, are you kidding? If he's just, like, walking around with that gun, like, you got something to say? You got something to fucking say? Bang! Walking around with their fucking severed head, like, you want to ignore my questions now? You want to ignore my questions now?
Sister Rose, get off the bike. Bang! Taking it. I'm minutes away from trying to find my daughter. Bang! You know where she's at? I would even shot the kids in the school.
You want to burn it here first, though?
Because you all bitches knew. Yeah, I get that he should have been more obviously aggressive, and like I said, somebody that has a daughter, I would be cracking skulls instantly. Because one and foremost, he wasn't a detective, and I like how he throws that up, like when they're when they were talking, he's like, "I'm a California police officer. You're in Washington." The crime, even if there was a crime, it was committed in Washington. You have no jurisdiction. Like I said, he didn't even have his PA private investigations license. At that point, automatically, I would just be shooting people.
Like, and the big risk too with these people, like, let's say you call him, right? You send him a letter, helping him help me find my missing child. You're risking the fact that he would come and not notify FBI.
Right. Absolutely. And, you know, as much as we're making jokes about it, you know, I did like, it did kind of have more of a horror thing to it.
Does it though? Really?
I'm not saying it's the best. Don't get it twisted.
More. We needed a seduction through a wall scene.
I mean, every horror movie at this point should now have a seduction wall scene. Like, mandatory. I just don't like. I hate Nicolas Cage's emotional acting because, like I says, the bees and the ladies and the bitches and the stunt double kicks that are so obviously not him. I did like the element of it being his daughter. I liked how there was more of a personal connection to this situation rather than just being random. I mean, if I had to die, I would probably say I would accept my daughter burning me. You know, just accept it. Like,
so we can arrange that. But.
Yeah, she's gonna plan that like for her next birthday, so I'm not surprised by it. Really, like, minus of some elements of like the dialogue and Nicolas Cage's emotional acting, I'm okay with the film. I'm actually okay with the film, which makes me.
I mean, it's not as bad as what people make it out to be.
Was that?
It's not as bad as what it's made out to be.
Oh, no, like...
I mean, I can see people going with this version because they don't want all of the nudity that comes with 1973. If you're sensitive to that kind of stuff and you don't want to see it, 2006 might be the way to go for you.
And if you do like dancing, naked chicks dancing and touching the wall and seducing you, You got the 73 on.
That's 1973.
So what's your grade for the 2006 film?
C minus. Huge step back.
Wow, me and you are on opposite ends.
Yeah, I figured. I actually thought we would
giving, and this is why I fucking hate you right now. I don't like many Nicolas Cage's movies, and I have to say I'm giving this one a B.
We've split.
Yeah.
Split results here.
Yeah. I like the better connection. I thought it was more towards horror related. Yeah, there's some overacting moments with Nicolas Cage, but
That's Nicolas Cage at this point in his career.
Yeah, 2006 is just like, bees, my legs, bitches!
Not bees!
My legs! Bitches! So I am going with the 2006 as the winner for my pick.
Alright, next one up. Stephen King's The Shining.
Okay. So, until next time,
Bye-bye.
bye-bye.